Heyo, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Technical Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing, what is it, Sunday. So hope you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. As you guys can see, there's people that are joining us live right now. I'm going to give it a couple seconds for everyone to start tuning in. But for those that aren't familiar with who it is that I am, my name is Ricky. I have a little bit over 235,000 subscribers. So thank you guys again all for that. Yes, I did dye my hair. I'll be talking. I talked about that in my last video. If you guys, I'll answer it at the very end of the video. But the whole purpose of this video is we come together as a group, TechBud Solutions. That's our free trading community. We're one of the fastest growing private trading communities out there. You guys can join. It's that third link in the description. It's a free Facebook group. We offer a free Discord chat, and it gives you the ability to network with tens of thousands of individuals that are super motivated all across the world, not even just the United States. So if you've ever wanted to get started, I upload a bunch of daily videos for free on YouTube that you're more than welcome to check out. I would encourage you to check out that helpful video playlist, but most importantly, feel free to browse around other YouTubers. Again, my trading style is a little bit more conservative. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the best investing style for you, but as you guys can see right now, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be roasting me right now because of my hair. But I just wanted to thank you guys first for taking time out of your busy Sunday and investing that into joining us for this weekly event. It's one of our largest events. We usually get anywhere from about 1,200 to 2,000 people that tune in live, and about 10 to 15,000 views within the first 24 hours. You need a whip of nay. What's going on, Parrot? Hope you're having an amazing Sunday. But I'm ready, Ricky. I'm I'm ready to join TechBuds. I like it. So I wanted to say what's up to all of you. I actually have quite a bit things to cover or to talk about in this YouTube live stream for this week. Usually I let the group do a lot of talking, and I usually take a lot of suggestions based on your callouts. This week I did prepare a lot of there's only one stock out of, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit under 10 that are actively trending up. There's only on the 180-day chart. So that's something that I do that's very simple. So before I ask you all to introduce yourself, one thing that we do very well within our group is that we tend to focus on stocks that are showing signs of an uptrend. Last week, I did a very poor job for my stock market growth challenge. Last week was the first week. I trade with my TD Ameritrade account. I have over $25,000 there, but we started the stock market growth challenge last week. I made the mistake of getting in before the confirmation. I'm down about 2.5% currently on UGAS, and out of all the stocks right now that I talked about, and I went in before the confirmation. I talked about that and how that necessarily wasn't the best investment choice. All the other three stocks that we talked about last week ended up doing exceptionally well, especially with LABU. You guys can recap to last week, and we do a pretty good job focusing and being very conservative. I made the mistake, when it comes down to getting into a position a little bit before the confirmation, and let my mistake be something that you can use as an example. Make sure that it's something that you can ensure that you can see that how it wasn't in my best interest to get in before the confirmation above the 180-day to get into that position on UGAS. So what's going on, Roji? What's up? Looking like Johnny Bravo wax cousin. All right, sounds good. I know that a lot of you guys are gonna have a lot to say about my hair. I 100% will let you guys. You guys roasted me. If you guys didn't see my post on Instagram, you guys can follow me. The link is down below. The post got a little bit over 4,000 likes. That was not the impressive part. The impressive part is that it got over 1,000 comments, and this was the post. I knew that people were going to roast me, right? So that's the post I posted with my McLaren and my GTR, and then the post says, best roast about my hair gets a $100 gift card, and I'm actually going to announce the winner today. So I think I'm going to make a YouTube video where I'm going to go live, and then I'll probably upload it tomorrow. So yeah, what's going on, Rashay? I know the hair, right? I'm super pumped for what it is that we are going to do. We definitely don't want your number in the chat, so I do apologize for that, but I'm going to have to remove you. But yeah, let's go ahead, and first of all, I want you guys to all say what's up and say hello. So for all those that are tuning in right now, how many of you guys are, where are you guys from, and is this your guys' first time tuning in? And are you guys from Learn, Plan, Profit, TechBuds, or just a YouTube subscriber? So let's go ahead and hear it. So I, first of all, personally, I'm part of TechBud Solutions and Learn, Plan, Profit. Learn, Plan, Profit is my private course group that gets to watch me trade live every single day. TechBud Solutions is our free trading community of over 113,000 members, and I'm from Gilbert, Arizona. So here we go. Boom, boom, boom. You guys, this looks like the Matrix. Every single Sunday it's like this. I freaking love it. All right, I see LPP, TechBuds, LPP. There we go. Toronto, that's what I saw. Canada, St. Louis, Ontario, St. Anna. I used to work in a city. I used to work in that city, St. Anna. First LPP, I like it. Boom. You guys absolutely kill it every single week. And this is what's amazing about our community. We're you know, if you've ever struggled to surround yourself with people that motivate you, that people have a very positive environment, we're not here to subjugate others. Even if, because we're growing at such a rapid pace, we get a bunch of FAQs. And if you feel like, you're a part of a community, but, there's a lot of bash and a lot of negative connotation within the group, that's something that we do very well. Obviously, because we're growing at such a rapid pace, there's always going to be people that try to ruin it for others. But again, we've been doing this for such a consistent amount of time, and we've been able to remove people that are not here for the best interest of the group, and that is what has led us to become one of the fastest growing private trading communities out there, because we are here for our people. We're developing a bunch of free applications and resources that will be later available once we give a little bit more information on that. First for the Learn Plan Profit Group, then TechBuds Solutions, and then the general public, and of course that is going to be all for free. But again, let's stay consistent. Let's focus and make sure that we invest in markets that we are passionate for and that we understand. And like we've said multiple times before, don't invest in anything that you don't understand. So to kind of kickstart this week, I am going to start talking about certain stocks that are actively trending up. I want to make sure that the people that are part of Learn Plan Profit know this, right? And even those that are part of TechBuds Solutions. You guys know that on a weekly basis, let's say that your weekly percentage growth goal is anywhere from 3 to 5%. Let's say whatever that is. For those that are always asking, what is my weekly percentage growth goal? Mine is anywhere from 10 to 15%. Last week was pretty slow. I missed that on one day because of July 4th, and I closed the week at 8.84% growth, a little bit under $2,300 profit. But when it comes down to But when it comes down to your weekly percentage growth goal, be very realistic with yourself. If you've been struggling, if you've just be honest, right? If you've really been struggling to stay green, to understand what you're investing, you feel like you've been getting lucky. Yes, maybe you have been growing your account, but you don't understand why. Let's focus on this. Let's focus on 1 to 2 trades for the entire week. Let's really, people complain about the PDT rule because they can't grow their account with 3 trades. If you can't grow your account with 3 trades, what makes you think that with unlimited trades you're going to be able to do any better, right? If you are restricted to 3 day trades within a 5-day period, let that act as a incentive to focus on quality. There's nothing that you can do about that other than moving to another broker that's outside of the US, right? So instead of complaining about it, how about we focus on using that kind of restriction as leverage to get a better understanding and investing in more quality positions. So if you can only take 1 to 2 positions for this entire week, you are going to make that much more of an effort to focus on quality trades. Does that make sense? So let's focus on 1 to 2 trades that are going to get you not to your dollar goal, but to your weekly percentage growth goal. If that's 1%, great. Make sure that you work towards that 1% margin of profit for this week. If that's 3%, 5%, whatever it is, let's be realistic. Let's plan it out. And if you guys are asking, how do you plan out your stock? Then you need to browse around and watch a couple more of my videos. You can see that everyone today, that once we start breaking down stocks and I start accepting callouts, I'm not saying that I'm accepting callouts right now, but you'll see that people will start like Jedi Rebel. It says ticker symbol, says the ticker symbol, support and resistance, and all this. If you guys join or are part of TechBuds Solutions or Learn Plan Profit, you'll notice that in our Discord chat, I announced it today, right? You can go here to the watch list section. This is for TechBuds Solutions. You can see that people posted in their ticker symbol. Oh, Jedi Rebel's right here. Ticker symbol, support and resistance, desired entry point, sell point, and why it has potential. And you see that there's hundreds of people that have just shared it, just today. If you're part of the Learn Plan Profit group, it's named a little bit different. You go under here to resources, under group alerts. You can see that there are, again, hundreds of callouts that people have talked about. It doesn't mean that you have to trade any of them. It just means that, you can review them, see if you see the same value that they do. And if so, great, then you can add it to your watch list. If you don't, then guess what? You don't have to worry about it, right? That's the whole point of being able to do your own technical analysis, because you can decide on what you choose to invest in. So Yeah, but I'm super pumped. I'm super pumped. Last week wasn't the best week. A little bit under $2,500 profit. The week prior to that, again, I did stay a little bit under $2,500. The week before that was a little bit under $4,000 profit. So we are continuously growing our account, but we want to make sure that we do this on a much more just consistent basis. Again, I feel like I did a little bit more over trading last week. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. Let's go ahead and start breaking down any stocks. If there's any questions that you guys might have after I do my technical analysis, I would love to have the opportunity to break down the stock that you might see value in. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to kind of get straight to it. None of these are callouts. None of these are stocks that you should invest in. This is all something that I'm just breaking down to share my thought process. And again, you should never trade based on other people's opinion. And if how's the best way to get started? What brokerage should you choose? All those FAQs, please Google all that. I would encourage you to start paper trading, which means with fake money. And yeah, again, just Google all this. You guys can find this on Google or on YouTube. So I hope that's not too much to ask. But let me go ahead and move this around. I'm gonna move this over here. And boom. I think that should be good, right? I think we're fine. How many of you guys are in California? I'm gonna go visit in 2 days. I'm going to be there for about 3 days, visiting a couple of our Learn Plan Profit members and a couple of our partners. So I'm pretty pumped on that. Yeah. So also a nice little reminder, if you see that the quality of the video is low, all you have to do is you have to go right here, go to settings, and then change it to 720p. That's all you have to do. So again, just be sure to do that because when there's too many people, it automatically downgrades the quality sometimes. So, oh, there's quite a bit of you in California. Should we host a meetup? Let me know. Don't direct message me on Discord or on Instagram or anything like that, but just let me know in the live stream. All right, so let's go ahead and get right to it. Again, I like to focus a lot on stocks that are showing signs of an uptrend on this 180-day 4-hour time frame. That doesn't mean that you have to do any of this. So this is Zillow. A lot of you guys might be familiar with this application. So this service-based company is based on providing kind of like real estate properties that are for sale. One of the biggest ones out there as of right now. But as we can see, it's actively trending up. We talked about this one last week because Zillow was barely showing any signs of an uptrend. This was last week. Last Sunday Stock Talk, we talked about this one. And it was when it was about to break above $60. Boom, broke above $60. It grew 5%. I made the mistake of not investing in it. I invested in UGAS, and I'm down 2.5%. Again, you can't win them all, right? But that was on my Fidelity account, the Stock Market Growth Challenge. On my TD Ameritrade account, I did just fine, right? As it's moving up, right, the reason that I wanted to talk about this one again is it still has margin to go. With this ascending uptrend pattern, what I wanted to talk about is like, how can you identify something when it's an ascending uptrend pattern, right? Okay, so people are telling me to... let's see, hide the chat. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to hide the chat just to make sure that we focus on this. So it's showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. How do you know when something is showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern? So all it means is that it's moving up, right? You can see that the direction of this SMA line is pointing up, right? If you were to put an arrow at the end of this green line, what direction would it be pointing up, right? You can see if you can put an arrow at the direction of this, or at the end of this EMA line, it would be pointing up as well. So the EMA line, which is the exponential moving average, is pointing up, which is great, right? And then the SMA line is pointing up, which is acting as a support. Also, it's making higher highs, right? The previous resistance was right around $60. It was able to break that and then, broke above 60, showing signs of an uptrend. The past resistance was right around 65. So based on previous patterns, it usually tends to make higher highs. It doesn't mean that 100% it's going to. It just means that it can. So as long as the candles continue to hold above this EMA line, right? We have an alert set here for a potential break below the EMA line, but as long as the candles, even when it pulls back, as long as it's still above or near this EMA line, great, it's still showing and staying true to its uptrend pattern. But if it starts to trend below, right, this EMA line like this, then it's indicating signs of a downward pattern. So let's make sure that we can stay very aware of that. I did get asked the question today about Z. I do think that it has pullback potential. I wouldn't necessarily say that at the $62.50 price point, it would be the absolute best buy. Maybe as a day trade if it's trading in between that middle and top view up, just like a lot of those that are part of Learn Plan Profit know. Again, that's a video or a section within Learn Plan Profit. But I would wait a little bit more for a pullback. as you see, when something pushes up, right, as it's trending up, it does have pullbacks, and sometimes it pulls back and it bounces at the EMA line and then continues to uptrend. That's when I like to buy. I like to buy the dip. So I'm keeping it very simple, right? Overall resistance, I still see to be at around $65. Yes, it does have the potential for it to continue to make higher highs, but, you know, I like to be very conservative and I like to lock in profits. So let's say that you can get in at an average of like, let's say $62 with the overall resistance right around $65. That's a little bit under 5% potential profit. You know, not bad. A lot of people's weekly percentage growth is 3%. Some people's weekly percentage growth is much less than that. So again, just something to, you know, expose you guys to. Doesn't mean that you have to trade it. Just wanted to talk about why I saw value and why I saw value in it last week as well. So another one that we talked about was LPX. LPX has this horizontal support right around $27, which just means that it normally tends to bounce here. And this horizontal resistance, which means that it normally tends to peak out at around this area. Again, better buy range, better sell range, right? It doesn't mean that it's always going to be a good buy here if you don't have a confirmation of an uptrend. But as you see right now, it's trending above the EMA line. It does a really good job pulling back, right? Being able to buy the dip and sell the peaks. One thing that I do want to point out is the MACD indicator is showing signs of a peak formation, so it might continue to sell off. But another thing is this SMA resistance, right? As it's pushing up, just like last time, you know, it might get rejected around the SMA indicator. We are trending below the SMA line. So like we know, old support levels, do you see how the SMA line, that's this green line right here, used to act as a support? Now it's acting as a resistance, right? So if you're scalping this, if you're investing in this, you know, as a day trade, and you're buying the dips as in like, you know, where the EMA is at, and you're selling the peaks, right, where the SMA is at, that's great. I would make sure that I would treat this, the $28 to $29 area, to be somewhat of a resistance. If we break above it, then great. This SMA line, instead of it being and acting as a resistance, can now act as a support. But we need to get that confirmation. So I would be on high alert to potentially sell at around that area. And even from the EMA line to the SMA line, we have a 3% margin. So maybe even for a day trade, if you see opportunity or potential in it, you know, that could be definitely something that we can consider, right? We talked about Shop, right? This is Shopify. A lot of you guys are very familiar with it. Showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern, again, making higher highs, pulling back, making higher highs. It pulled back. We called out the bounce perfectly, right? Sold off. It got rejected by this EMA line. It consolidated. It stopped making lower lows. It started making higher highs, right? That's what we tend to look for. When do you know when something is actively trending up? Not just when it breaks above the EMA line, but when it starts to make higher highs. Very easy to understand that, right? When the candles continue to make higher highs, and when it pulls back, it doesn't go as low as it did before. Very easy concept to understand. So again, don't sell it to yourself. Don't say that it's a good deal. Let the patterns do the talking. And as we can see right now, it makes sense on why it bounced around this area. The EMA line is currently pointing up. It does look a little bit overextended for my taste. So that is why you see that I have an alert set here. So when it begins to pull back, I'll set another alert here. If it pulls back and it breaks below 155, just because I want to make sure that I'm alerted if it begins to pull back. So if it ends up bouncing, then I can choose to take a position and then buy it when it tends to peak out again. Again, very simple concept. It still has quite a bit of margin to continue to fulfill. The first resistance I would see at around 160, the following one right around 165, and then the following one around 170, and then the one that follows is around 175. As we can see that it's done that multiple times before as well. Doesn't mean that it's going to do it. It just means that that has been something that we can base it off of. Again, if it breaks below the EMA line and it starts to trend down like it's done before, then that can mean for a potential sell-off or rejection, and we might want to consider the idea of cutting losses or covering profits at that position. The following one is LABU. We actually talked about this one, believe it or not, when it was breaking above $100. So when it was struggling, so it was first getting rejected, right? It was getting rejected. It peaked out originally right around 115, right? It sold off. It was getting rejected. It was starting to consolidate. It was not making any lower lows anymore. It was starting to consolidate, kind of with this horizontal pattern. A lot of those that are part of Learn, Plan, Profit know the 3 stages of a reversal: the rejection, consolidation, and then reversal, right? It broke above the EMA, and then it started making higher highs. That's when my alert went off, when it went above 100. And then just last week, in about 2 to 3 days, it covered this 10% margin. I want to give a shout out to Muhammad. I want to give a shout out to all those that were able to properly take advantage of this opportunity. We talked about this one since Sunday. We were daily recapping it every single day, and we did an amazing job. I ended up trading it, but obviously I ended up not holding it, and it would have been a pretty solid swing trade. It had a really strong push on Friday. It covered 8% of that. And then we have to understand that we can't always think that we're going to guess it perfectly, right? But what we can do is set ourselves up for success. So don't sell yourself the position. Don't think that it's always going to go up. Just make sure that you focus on quality positions. And that means that you need to come up with your own criteria that every stock has to meet to confirm it and to qualify it as a good investment. And what I like to do is trending above the EMA indicator, showing signs of an uptrend, making higher highs, and when it pulls back, it doesn't go as low as it did before, and obviously that it's in good deal territory. One thing that I want to talk about is I was actually having a conversation, kind of like a Q&A with the Learn Plan Profit group, and again, that's the group that I work with a little bit closer. But you know, as it's approaching this $110 price point, we have to ask ourselves, right? We have to be realistic, right? Yes, it was showing signs of an uptrend, and it's still kind of like, you know, making higher highs, and that's great. But you know, what's it called? Is this going to continue to, you know, show signs of an uptrend, right? Is this going to continue to rise? Or is this a little bit more on the overbought side? I actually want you guys to participate. What do you guys think about LABU? And I want to ask you guys, you know, looking at LABU, looking at the range of when it's a good buy or when it's a good buy, right? When it bounces or when it's a good sell. You know, what would you consider LABU right now? Would you consider it more on the overbought side or more on the oversold side? So Marco is saying overbought, right? So invest in Epic. What? Okay. All right, there we go. So definitely overbought. Gonna pull back. You know, a lot of people are very aware. So asking you guys, you know, is this something that you would consider to be a good deal, right? Probably not. If something is overbought, it's very easy to understand with the RSI indicator. And forget about the RSI, you can easily tell with just the range, the price range that, okay, if this is the range of where it normally trades at, we're at the higher price point, right? So first of all, it's becoming more on the overbought side. So it wouldn't necessarily make much sense to treat it as a swing trade, to think that, okay, it does have more margin to cover, right? About 5%, and that's great, but does the margin of profit exceed the margin of loss? If it pulls back to the SMA line, it has a potential to lose 16.29%. And we have to be realistic with ourselves. This is something that we cover in the Learn Plan Profit lesson library. It's called the golden ratio. And you want to make sure that whatever you invest in has a higher percentage potential for profit than the potential for loss that it has to offer. So with that understanding, right, this is LABU. The inverse of this is LABD, right? LABD is a strong downward pattern. I would 100% refuse to invest or to suggest anyone to invest in something that's descending, right? But with that understanding, what is it that we can, you know, do to still, like, let's say on Monday, right? Let's say tomorrow, LABU, this is like a test. Let's say LABU tomorrow still continues to uptrend, right? Trending in between, just like it did, you know, on Friday. If it still continues to trend in between the EMA line and the middle VWAP, or the top VWAP, or the middle VWAP to the top VWAP, right? This is showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. Being able to buy the dips and sell the peaks, right? Being able to buy the dips, sell the peaks, buy the dips, sell the peaks, buy the dips, sell the peaks, right? That makes sense, right? But how, like, if we could see that it might have day trade potential, does that mean that we have to swing trade it? No. First of all, you want to make sure that if you're under the PDT rule that you know that you have day trades. But one thing that I wanted to talk about is I don't want to say that LABU is overbought and it's not something that anyone should invest in. I'm just saying, like, if I were to potentially invest in LABU, the reason, even as a day trade, the reason that I'm talking about this one so, you know, and putting so much emphasis on it is because, yes, it's overbought, but it's also showing signs of an uptrend. So if we keep that in mind and, like, okay, well, if on Monday it starts to show signs of an uptrend and continues to trade in between the middle and top VWAP, then I can day trade it. As long as those patterns are still true as a day trade, then I can day trade it. But the reason that I'm only day trading it and not swing trading it is because I know that the opportunity cost for a swing trade to hold this is not great. It makes sense that if it shows the pattern within and the value within 1 day, great. You know, that's 100% great. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be the best investment as a swing trade. And I want to make, again, I'm not saying that it's a good investment for a day trade or a swing trade. I'm just planting the idea that when something is actively trending up, no one knows when it's going to peak out, right? And if it continues to show signs of an uptrend, great. It shows day trade potential. But the reason that you should understand where it is, if it's overbought or oversold on the 180-day 4-hour chart, is to have an understanding that if it has swing trade potential to hold for a couple days or day trade potential. So I know that's something that a lot of you guys might already know, but that might be a concept that not a lot of people might know. And I just wanted to make sure that that is something that I, talked about, right? Sorry about that. All right, and then yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I do see that if I see that this thing starts to sell off aggressively, then it kind of goes vice versa, right? LABD is the inverse ETF, so then LABD would be the one that starts to recover. It doesn't mean that that's a good investment, especially for those newer traders. I would highly encourage you to not even touch anything that is showing signs of a strong downward pattern. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on from that. So now we talked about Gush. Gush has been one that we've talked about multiple times before. This one's showing signs of an uptrend pattern. Based on previous patterns, it tends to peak out right around this $42 price point. And honestly, looking at /CL, we can see that /CL is trending up as of right now, and it is trying to recover. But we also have to take into consideration on how overbought it is, right? It's almost showing signs of a peak formation. So let's make sure that we take that into consideration, and that if it starts to sell off again and starts to make lower lows, this might be the reversal for Gush and then for Drip, right? So just wanted to talk about that one very quickly. Talking about Grub, this is Grubhub, for those that are familiar with it. It's holding above this SMA line. It's showing signs of a potential uptrend. We have the alert set here for myself, right? It's showing signs of an uptrend. We'll see if it continues to uptrend, but just wanted to make sure that we quickly talk about it. This is RCI, holding above this SMA indicator, right? EMA line showing signs of an uptrend. Right now, there's a current resistance. Do you guys see this? It's making a double top at around $11.50. Very strong resistance. I think it's going to pull back, bounce at this EMA line, and it's going to struggle. But once it does break above $11.50, that's when it's starting to make higher highs. And then that's when I would find it to be an active uptrend, right? And that's why I have it in my watch list, because I want to make sure that I'm able to take advantage of that opportunity because of this ascending uptrend pattern and the margin that it has to cover, right? From $11.50, let's say, to $13, which is a previous high before. That's a little bit over 10% potential for profit. UGAS is one that we talked about. As of right now, it's still trending below the EMA indicator, so I would make sure that you guys all understand that it's not showing any signs of an uptrend. I do see that it's a little bit more on the oversold side, when it comes down to /NG, I actually just got the alert during this live stream. It just broke above this SMA line, or it just broke above 2.845, and based on the previous close on when it closed that should have been at around this area right here. Where is it? It should have been around this area right here. But as we can see on the 180-day analysis, we could see that /NG is showing signs of a potential reversal pattern, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and cut this out. Sorry about that. But as we can see, /NG is showing signs of a potential reversal. It's not confirming the reversal just yet. So again, this was my mistake last week. I got into UGAS before the confirmation of the reversal. So what I would usually like to wait for is, do you see how this sold off, right? And it was trending down, trending down, trending down. It then consolidates around this area right here, and then it broke above the EMA line. That's what would have made sense. So like for this case, right, it's selling off, selling off, selling off. It's not making any lower lows anymore. It's starting to consolidate, right? That's still wasted time that I'm wasting. But when it breaks above, and starts to trend above the EMA line, then hey, it's starting to show signs of an uptrend. It's in the good deal range, and it's actively trending up. This might be something that I might want to consider, as you guys might start to recover some of this margin. But as of right now, neither UGAS nor natural gas is showing any of this. But the reason that I'm talking about it is because it's showing signs of this pending reversal. The MACD indicator is looking good. The RSI is looking good. It's trending right below this EMA line. So that's why I have a series of alerts set here. And then once we get that confirmation, great. Then we can choose to invest in it. But as of right now, I would make sure that you guys understand that it's not actively trending up. It's not showing any signs of an uptrend. And it wouldn't be probably a good investment as of right now. So the next one is ADBE. This is Adobe Systems Incorporated. Again, very strong ascending uptrend pattern. I think you guys can all see that. At a really strong push on Friday, I would expect somewhat of a pullback, right? I would expect a little bit of a pullback around that $245 price point. This might be a little steep for a lot of people, right? Or for some of you, but if it pulls back and it confirms the uptrend and it continues to push up, just because it's such a consistently profitable and ascending uptrend pattern, this is just a little bit more of a more conservative kind of position. Does that make sense? So it's a very slow moving, even if it covers this entire margin, right? That's about 4%. And it's very easy, like if it starts to sell off, it's going to be very easy for you to be able to identify that breakup pattern, and it'll be down like 1 or 2% and you can cut losses. So for all those that are paper trading, I would encourage you to, browse and to focus more on stable companies, something that is very easy to understand and read, and not something that's extremely volatile, because it might be a little bit more difficult for you to make sense of, the patterns and the volatility and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely did want to talk about the ADB pattern for all, our conservative investors. This is AA, which is Akola Corporation. So you can see that it's showing signs of a support or a bounce at around the same area that it did last time. It's starting to show signs of an uptrend. It's making higher highs, it's pulling back, making lower highs as well. And then the overall resistance right around that SMA indicator, which is where it got rejected before. Watch out also for this potential earnings report. We got PHM, right? Showing signs of a bounce right around that previous support as well. Showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It's above the EMA line. Next resistance, I would say around $30. As of right now, because it pushed up very nicely on Friday, I would wait a little bit more for a sell-off closer to that $29 price point and then to that $30 resistance. Not a huge margin, 3%, but again, profit is profit, right? Overall horizontal pattern on NTNX. And as we can see, it's showing signs of an uptrend pattern. Overall resistance first at 55, the next one at 60, and then the following one at 65. And as long as it continues to stay true to this EMA line, then that's what I'd really like to focus on, right? Let's make sure that we focus on that good deal. PSTG. Showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It continues to make higher highs. It continues to make lower highs. So based on previous patterns, it would make sense that it would not only hit 25 or potentially 25.50, but continue to make higher highs and potentially hit $26. So as of right now, around this $24 potential entry to the $26 price point, that offers a little bit over 8% potential for profit. The last one that I'm talking about is ticker symbol ON. ON is showing a support right around $22, resistance at around $25, and this is what I want to talk about. This is a very simple horizontal pattern to understand, right? So I know a lot of people ask the question, like, how do you know when you're getting a good deal, right? How do you, that's probably one of the most common questions that I get, is like, well, first, you have to learn how to identify patterns and draw these support and resistance lines. That's something that you're going to have to, like, I can't, like be there with you, right? I can't be there with you physically, but what I can do is the more that you perform technical analysis, the easier it will become for you. So as of right now, right? So we can, there's this like support and resistance, right? Where it normally bounces at, where it normally peaks out at. It doesn't mean that it has to bounce here or that it has to peak out here. It just means that it has before. So we can trade based off of that. But the reason that I always say is wait for the confirmation. If you guys are ever asking that question, why does this guy like always say that? Okay, well, it normally bounces here. So waiting for the confirmation just means like, okay, so since it's bounced here before, I'm going to wait till it validates that support, that pattern. And then if it validates it, great. Then I knew that I was able to properly identify that pattern. And then I can wait for the confirmation and then enter the position, right? So now we're trending above this EMA line. If we were to put an arrow here, it would be pointing up, right? It's showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It's making higher highs, making lower highs, right? It's a very consistent pattern. And we know that, within the range of $22 to $25, we're in a good deal range. We could sell at, the higher price point, and there's margin of profit to be made, almost 10%, right? So because of that, I've identified a horizontal pattern. I've identified the low points and the high points. I waited for the confirmation. It's showing signs of an uptrend, right? That all makes sense. Now I need to ask myself, is the margin of profit worth it? If it is, great. If it's not, then guess what? You don't have to take a position. That's the beautiful thing about investing. You should be saying more no than yes when it comes down to taking positions. You need to be a quality investor, and you need to invest in quality patterns. But the only way that you can make sense of quality patterns is if you can come up with criteria that every stock has to meet. And that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And that's why I've done a job when it comes down to those that have joined, Learn Time Profit. If you guys go to the Start Here section, I put my criteria sheet. So Ricky's criteria, I talk about focusing on ascending uptrend patterns, ensuring that you are getting a good deal, that the margin of profit is greater than a certain percentage to make sure that the opportunity cost is worth it. I have a series of things. It doesn't mean that you have to follow what I see value in. All it means is that you should come up with your own criteria that has assisted you in your success and filter out all those bad stocks that everyone calls out. If everyone is calling out a certain stock, that should be a huge red flag on maybe why it's not the best investment, because if everyone knows about it, then it's probably not the best, right? Yeah, so this is on ON, right? This is on. So you can see that I have a series of alerts set up for a potential pullback or if it starts making higher highs. I really like the pattern on ticker symbol ON. It does not mean that you have to like it whatsoever, right? And that's the amazing thing about this. Again, we are all wired in different ways. Just let's make sure that we each come up with our own criteria that every stock has to meet. That's the beautiful thing about this. As you're paper trading, how long should you be paper trading? That's a question that we always get. You should be paper trading until you can prove to yourself that you can continuously grow your account. Not just for a week, not just for 2 weeks, but for a period of time. So you feel comfortable and confident. Be real with yourself. Stop trying to rush this whole process and just continuously grow your account. If you see that you cannot grow your account with paper trading, then great. You invested time in a market where you learn new things, you weren't successful in it, and you didn't invest any real money. You didn't risk anything. And you were able to surround yourself with amazing and motivated people. That's the great thing about this. I am here to set a set list of, just precautions and steps that, minimize your overall dollar risk and make sure that we, share our best practices to guide you in the right direction. And I hope that you guys could all see that. So now that we are done with that, you guys don't stop talking about my hair. I should have dyed my hair a long time ago, right? All right. What's up? What's up? All right. So I am going to start breaking down a certain amount of stocks that. I'm going to start breaking down a certain amount of stocks that you guys start calling out. Again, I would encourage you, if it's not too much to ask, to copy your ticker call out format and paste it, just because once I say to start sharing it, you're going to see a bunch of them start coming up, and I'm not going to be able to go through all of them. I'm going to focus on 10 for this live stream, and they all have to be showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. It doesn't mean that, again, the whole point that I'm only focusing on ascending uptrend patterns is because I want to make sure that I don't talk about any stocks that are actively trending down. It doesn't mean that your stock isn't a good call out. It just means that I don't want to talk about it during this live stream. So on the 180-day analysis, make sure that it's actively trending up above the EMA line and that the margin of profit exceeds the margin of loss. If I see that right away, that it's a descending pattern or a strong down pattern, I will completely just move on. And I hope that that's not something that discourages you. It just means that you can direct message me if you're part of TechBud Solutions or Learn Plan Profit, that ticker call out format, why it is that you see value in it, and I will, on my own time, do my own due diligence. So I hope that that's okay with you. Yo, the live stream is popping right now. I want to say what's up to you. Let's see. Where are you at? Yeah, but let's go ahead and start seeing these call outs. Chat is so fast. I can't even see any of these call outs. So IMGN. All right. IMGN. So, okay, so it's actively trending up. It's showing signs of an uptrend pattern. But again, the margin of profit, so it's about 7.55%, does not exceed the margin of loss. I do see why it is that you're calling it out, but I also do want to remind you that multiple times, right, it does get rejected at around $11.50. It's gotten rejected here. It only got above, to $12 for, I think that might have been during pre-market hours or no, right as the market opened, right, within the first 4 hours. So I do want to make sure that you guys understand that this is a little bit more on the overbought side. It's not so much of a good deal. If it continues to stay true to this EMA line, great. Then I can see why IMGN would be a potential good investment, but it doesn't mean that it has that it's going to be. It's 100% more on the overbought side. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. So if you're treating it as a day trade, great. Make sure that it's showing signs of an uptrend, so in between the middle and top VWAP, and that if it starts to pull back, that you understand that, hey, you keep this in the back of your head, it's a little bit more on the overbought side. It might not be the best deal. I might want to be a little bit more, conservative when it comes down to cutting losses, right? So, yeah. Thank you again for that call out. Ticker symbol SAIL. Sale is showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. I actually really like this. Very conservative approach, very solid, uptrend. It's above the EMA line. It's on its way to start making higher highs. Let's see what this margin of profit is that it has to offer. I actually really like this one. I like this one. Okay, so I'm going to add this one to my watch list. It does not mean that I'm going to trade it. It just means that I like the pattern. I'm going to revisit it a little bit later, and I'll talk to you both that are part of Learn Plan Profit and Technical Solutions, and once I break it down a little bit more in depth. But I'm setting an alert for a potential pullback. I'm setting an alert if it breaks and makes higher highs. But as of right now, the margin of profit to that $28 resistance is a little bit over 5%. If it pulls back and then I'm able to get in at an average price of, let's say, like $25.50 to that $28 resistance, that's almost a 10% swing trade. That's something that I see a lot of value in. It does not mean that you have to. So great call out on that one. That has to be one of my favorites as of right now. How closely do you follow the natural gas market? Pretty closely. I mean, I have it right here. So yeah, I do. Okay. Veco, what's going on? So this one's showing signs more of a downtrend. It is actively trending up above the EMA line, but the thing that I don't like about this one is if I go to that 180-day EMA or 1 year analysis, I can see that it's showing signs of a strong downward pattern. 180-day analysis, yes, it's showing signs of an uptrend pattern, but it also makes lower lows. You see this huge sell-off. I don't find that very attractive nor encouraging to hold this, right? Because if I buy right now and then it continues to sell off, it's done this before, and the risk just isn't worth it for me. So I do see why it is that you're calling out. It's above the EMA line. It does have potential to continue to uptrend. Watch out for the SMA line as a resistance. It's just not my niche. It's just not my investing style. Jedi, I did see your CERS call out, so let me go ahead and do that. I see this to be a little bit more on the overbought side. I do see how this thing can pop. So I would set an alert for that if it starts to randomly make higher highs. But I also do see, like, it's definitely more. So looking at the previous price points, it's definitely more on the overbought side. So what I would say is I would wait a little bit more for a sell-off and then try to get closer to the SMA indicator as a potential buy. Like, this is where I would identify it to be, a good potential buy. So, Christy. All right, first of all, there's no need for you guys to donate, but yes, I know, my hair. Why? I'll talk about it in just a little bit. Ticker symbol CY. All right, let's do it. All right, ticker symbol CY is starting to show signs of a potential reversal. It's still very early. It's about 1 or 2 days in of it confirming above the 180-day EMA line. That's great. Again, just note that it does have very aggressive sell-offs. Also note that normally where it peaks out at is right around the 1750 price point. Again, right here, right here. It sometimes does exceed it, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. It got rejected around here and here as well. And then where does it normally bounce at? Anywhere from around $15 to around $16. So let's make sure that we don't get rejected by this SMA line. That might act as a resistance. But yes, I do see a lot of potential for this overall reversal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an alert here. And I'm also going to add an alert if it breaks below the EMA line, right? The hair is because Super Saiyan Ricky. What's going on, Rox? All right, Bidoof is calling out ticker symbol cat. Are you a cool cat? All right, cat is right now showing signs of a downtrend, so I do apologize, but as of right now, no uptrend. If I'm not mistaken, this is under my pending reversals. Yep, there it goes. And again, the reason that I know this is just because I'm actively looking at my watch list. So I have a series of alerts set right now, but other than that, I don't see much potential in it. So ticker symbol TELL from Alex. As of right now, no signs of an uptrend. It's kind of, again, 3 stages in a reversal, and right now, the rejection, it's consolidating right now. So I do understand, Alex, that it's not making lower lows or higher highs, but that's just it. It's just consolidating. One thing that I want it to do is to start actively trending up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert for the break above $9, and then I can add ticker symbol TELL to my pending reversal watch list. And that's why, again, in the Learn Plan Profit course, I talk about having a series of different watch lists because it helps keep things a little bit more organized depending in what stage that stock is in, right? AMD. So AMD, we did talk about this one for those that are part of Learn Plan Profit. The SMA line acting as a support, it sold off, started to stopped making lower lows. It started to consolidate, broke above the EMA line, started to push up. Yes, it is pushing up. I find it to be more on the overbought side. The RSI can validate that, so can the MACD. So it's definitely more on the overbought side. I would expect somewhat of a pullback, and then for it to continue to uptrend. So definitely it's one that I would keep a very close eye out for. Yeah, but so I really do appreciate you saying Ricky is cool, sub to me. But if you say that again for the subscribers, I'm going to have to remove you from the video. But yeah. Ticker symbol OAS. OAS is definitely much more on the overbought side. Do you see how it's kind of consolidating? Do you see how it's a little bit more just long-term kind of overextended? Yeah, you can see how it's almost showing signs of a peak formation. It used to actively trend up, and then it started to peak out. Wouldn't it make sense for this thing to almost start to sell off and then consolidate at around this SMA line? Just something to take into consideration. Always don't just think about it. Don't just stay so micro focused on the current patterns, but also try to think about like the big picture. Kind of like, where do you see this thing going? Right? Do you see this thing making higher highs or lower lows and stuff like that? I always try to think about worst case scenario to play the defense, right? So yeah. Ticker symbol GURN from Tom. What's up, Tom? This thing is making lower lows. I personally don't like this. You can see that it easily gets manipulated. So I have about, how many people? About almost 1,800 people tuning in live right now. And again, how can you spot a pump and dump? First of all, if you see that within a group chat, this is something that group chats are super infamous for. Stock twits, right? Again, if so many people are calling out that, hey, invest in GURN, hey, invest in block, TOPS, HMNY, all those like BS pump and dumps, right? The reason that I talk about them that way is because I know that we have a lot of new traders, and I want to make sure that if you're buying or trading based off of someone selling you alerts or signals or something like that, first of all, you're not becoming a self-sufficient trader. You're not actually learning how to trade. You're being told what to trade, right? So when you want to talk about like kind of more of like, we're here to teach you how to fish, not to be fed, right? So with that mentality, why would it make sense to invest in something that you don't understand on why it's moving up, right? If there's no pattern, no understanding of what's driving this momentum, what's driving this hype, what's driving this demand, then the risk becomes that much greater because you have no understanding of what you're investing in. And I understand that sometimes they can be very profitable, but you're not here just to make 1 or 2 good trades for the life of your career. You're here to understand what you're investing in, that you're getting a good deal, and that you're selling for a good exit. And the only reason or the only way that you can do that based on the way that I trade, and again, it doesn't have to be something that you focus on, but it's understanding what you're getting yourself into. And if you see that there's these huge, like you can see right here, this is my volume bar. Do you guys see this? You might have to like squint. But do you see these volume bars right here? And then all of a sudden, it starts to really push up. Do you see this? You can see that there's obvious drive and momentum that is pushing the stock up. And then all of a sudden, when all that hype dies out, so does the volume, so does the demand, and then the price starts crashing down. When you want to talk about real manipulation, real pump and dumps, and honestly, something that you probably should never invest in, it's probably something that shows similar patterns to this. When people say that, oh, this thing goes up 50%, 100%, 200%, I get it. I'm sometimes motivated to invest in this. But I understand that when it comes down to investing, I'm not just here to do it for 1 week, for 1 month, for 1 year, for 2 years. I'm here to do it as a career. I make money, a living, right, by investing in the stock market. So if I want to continue to make a living, it would make sense to not invest in patterns in which don't make sense or I can't understand why it's pushing up. First of all, it just might mean that like I might not just know why it's pushing up. And that could be a reason on why I just don't even want to take a position, right? But if you could see that so many people are talking about it, people are selling signals on it, people get paid to promote stocks. I need you guys to all know that. And when you see obvious signs of manipulation with volume, with huge price increases, and there's no news, no valid news, right, source that is actually backing up this drive and this hype, then that should be a huge red flag on maybe why you should take a step back. One of the best trades that you can take is not taking one at all. Can we all understand that? So I just want to make sure that we guide everyone in the right direction, that we stay away from pump and dumps, and that you don't take any positions in which you don't understand. A lot of people are selling signals, are selling alerts, and they, are just doing it for the heck of it. I think as myself, right, being and wanting to become a self-sufficient trader, it would make much more sense to trade patterns that make sense to me and that I understand, because I understand the risk that I'm taking. If you're investing in this, you don't know when you're going to sell. You don't know when you're going to buy. And I know a lot of us have been in those shoes. So again, I know a lot of you guys are going to be practicing, day trading and paper trading and stuff like that. So this is going to be a great opportunity for you guys to expose yourself to this specific, environment. So I took 2 red trades and 1 green trade last week, but still made $600 profit due to risk management. 100%, because Austin understands what he's investing in. He's one of our top traders also within Learn, Plan, Profit. I think he just quit his job also, I think, last week. Okay, that was kind of a rant, but it's a really good, I think, spiel that I wanted to share with you all. HTZ. Showing signs of a downward pattern still with this descending SMA line. So again, we could see a strong descending pattern. I don't see yours, Don. And Don, you're already very well versed within our group. You don't really need assistance. But if you want to share yours, just put some emojis next to it, and then I'll break it down. But yeah, you can see that it's showing signs of a reversal pattern. It's above the EMA line. That's great. It normally gets rejected right around this SMA line. I find this to be a little bit of a higher risk stock, right, because of this descending pattern. But it doesn't mean that it's a bad investment. It just means that it's a little bit higher risk because it continues to make lower lows. So please understand that before taking your position. And yes, it is above the EMA line. So as long as it continues to stay true to this, just understand the characteristic of its previous, push up. It pushes up, it pulls back, pushes up, pulls back. Sometimes it does fall below the EMA line and then it recovers. So make sure that you understand how whatever stock you're investing in moves before taking up your next position. And Don, this is exactly why I'm not going to break down your position. So Don is also one of our top traders within our group, and he loves joking around, and he's talking about HMNY. Obviously, if you guys know anything about HMNY, this thing went from $24 down to like 18 cents as of right now, to lows of 17. So this is a perfect example for all those that have been trading for a little bit over a year. There was this huge push. Again, look, no volume, and then all of a sudden, boom, right? Huge momentum, huge push. Now look at it. Everyone thought that this thing was going to go to the moon, right? All this all this hype. Easiest way to put it. And then look what happened. Sold off, sold off, sold off. No one really knew what was going on. There's a bunch of marking. There's a bunch of hype behind it. And then it continued to sell off. And now it's back at 17 cents. It's actually lower at where it's at now than it was before. Perfect example of why you should not invest in pump and dumps and in stocks that you don't understand. I see, let's go, Aaron, on venture. I keep seeing your call out, so I do apologize for that. I'm going to do one more after this, okay? So ATRS showing signs. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of pharmaceutical companies. Whoa, you guys are going crazy with the callouts. It's holding above this SMA line. This is normally where I find it to be within the good range. Higher, or where it normally sells out is around $3. So as of right now, from this $2 and $70 price point to $3, offers a a little bit over 10% margin of profit. That's great, but we also have to understand that this is a little bit of a lower cap stock. If we look at the 1-day, 1-minute chart, we could see that it's definitely doesn't have the most volume. So taking that into consideration, I personally wouldn't invest in it just due to that low volatility. It can get easily manipulated, as you can see. 1 second it's at $2.70, next second it's at $3.10, and then it pulls back. I just don't want to be a part of that. It's a form of risk that I personally just don't want to take. So I do appreciate the call out. I just think the volume is a little bit too low. Yes, it has high margins of profit, but then it also can sell off. And it's just, I like the ascending uptrend pattern. So I'm kind of like back and forth about it. It's just within the niche that I focus on right now and the dollar value that I invest, for all those that are always wondering, it's anywhere from around $15,000 to $30,000 per position for my TD Ameritrade account. For my, Fidelity account for the Stock Market Growth Challenge, that's $3,000. But yeah, it's just it doesn't meet that certain criteria. So, all right, I'm going to go with this one. CT Lopez, ATI. So ATI is showing signs of a potential reversal, right? Watch out for this earnings report. I'm going to set an alert right now. It's struggling to hold above $26. It's showing signs of it trying to reverse back up. So I'm going to set an alert there. Watch out for the SMA line as a potential resistance. And then, what's it called? Right here around $28 to $29 tends to be where it normally peaks out at. And again, you will become more familiar with how to draw support and resistance lines as time goes on, but you just need to start doing your own due diligence. You just need to start breaking down stocks, and you start doing the work, right? We're not here to spoon feed you. I don't care if you're part of our free group. I don't care if you're part of Learn, Plan, Profit, our paid course group. We are here to teach you how to become a self-sufficient trader. If you want to be told what to do, then being a part of our community is probably not the best for you. If you're willing to invest time, if you're willing to invest effort to learning how this thing gets done, we do this every single day, every single week, week after week, month after month, and that is why we are the fastest growing private trading community out there. So that is it. And again, CT LPP, 1 month in. What's going on, CT? Thank you again for that call out. And that is pretty much it. It's kind of dark in here. Give me 1 quick second. I'm going to turn on the light. All right, there we go. How many of you guys enjoyed that? So if this was your guys' first time tuning in for the Sunday Stock Talk, if it's not too much to ask, you guys could do us the biggest favor, and I know a lot of you guys don't like doing it, but we do this every single Sunday. And if you guys really like these Sunday Stock Talks, we would really appreciate if you can give the video a thumbs up. Most importantly, again, I need you guys to know, right? We have a bunch of people. We have thousands of people, right, within Learn, Plan, Profit. That's the private course group that gets to watch me trade live every single day. So I actually made a video last week, right? I covered a little bit over $1,000 profit. You guys can check out those videos. I upload videos every single day. I talk about my stocks kind of like, before I take the position like I do here. I trade them, right? I trade live every single day at market open with the Learn, Plan, Profit group. That's that first link in the description. And then I recap on them every single day on YouTube. I show you guys my profits. I don't just talk about what I think I like and then that's it. I don't just talk about that I make money, right? And then that's it. I do the 3 stages. I talk about them beforehand. I trade live with the Learn, Plan, Profit group, and then I recap on them and show you my profits or my losses. And that's the amazing thing about our group. We try to just be as transparent as possible. And if that's great for you, then great. We would love to be a part of your success. And you guys can click that 3rd link down below. That is our link to TechBot Solutions. That is why we have become one of the fastest growing private trading communities out there, right? We have a little bit over 116,000 members now. Let's see actually where we're at. So let's refresh this. Let's see where we're at. All right, so 69 members have asked to join since we've gone live on YouTube. And if you guys want a little bit more one-on-one, it's not even one-on-one, it's just you get to work with me a little bit on a closer basis. You get to watch me trade live. You get access to the Learn, Plan, Profit course, right, for a lifetime. It's a one-time fee. Click that first link down below. That's the Learn, Plan, Profit group. And that's the community that I work a little bit closer with. TechBot Solutions is an amazing community to get started with, and again, amazing group of people. I want to make sure that regardless of what community you choose to be a part of, regardless if it's any of mine or anybody else's, just make sure that you're very real with yourself, that they don't just talk about making money, that they can show you that they can do this, and that they're not telling you what to do. When it comes down to investing, right, I invest in multiple different markets. When it comes down to stocks, I buy and resell cars, I own a series of real estate, and we own a series of businesses as well. And the reason that I have become successful in the way that I do things is because I understand or try to understand every single market that I choose to invest in before actually investing in it. And that is my one step of encouragement for you. There are so many people that are going to try to tell you what to do. What's the best for you? I don't know what's the best for you, right? We're all wired in different ways. And that's the beautiful thing about this whole process, is that you get to find out if you're passionate about the stock market, if you're passionate about buying and reselling cars, if you're passionate about real estate, whatever you're passionate about, regardless if it's something that I can assist with or not, just make sure that you're not just getting into it due to the idea of making money, that you get into it because it's something that you truly enjoy, and that, regardless if you make, $100 a day or $10,000 a day, that if you can do this for the rest of your life and you're happy and you're pleased, then that's what's important. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that. So that's really just it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this Sunday Stock Talk. Again, we do this every single Sunday. I do daily recap videos. If you guys want to see more of this blonde hair, just kidding. Oh, Caleb, my guy. What's going on? I need to show you guys Caleb. A lot of you guys might not know him, but this is Caleb. For all those that are part of Flipping Wheels, so when it comes down to the buying and reselling of cars, that's that second link down below. This guy sells more cars than your local dealership. Let's just that's a good way to put it. But I'm just going to close it out real quick, okay?
Yes.
All right, brother.
Go ahead, Eminem.
Eminem. Oh, don't say Eminem. But yeah, so I just want to thank you guys for everything that is that you guys do, even for just watching this video. First of all, if you disliked the video, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to please you, right? If you like this video, I want to thank you guys for your time. If you want to join our free group, again, Technical Solutions, third link in the description, great. If you want to join our private group and work with me a little bit on a closer basis, learn a little bit more. Invest 30 seconds, 1 minute, click that first link down below. And if you want to learn how to buy and resell cars and work with, Caleb, you'll be able to work with him daily, and Weston, click that second link in the description. Again, we have all these different options, and we also have over 1,000 videos on YouTube, over 1,000 videos on YouTube, and that's all free, right? You choose. We have all these free outlets for you. The ones that take time out of our day to actually work with you. Yeah, those are the communities that we have, right? Learn, Plan, Profit, and Flipping Wheels. But I want you guys to know that there's still free options, right? I know not everyone can be in that position to pay for something, and that is why my goal is to continue to create free tools and resources that we can automate. The applications and all the software that we are working on developing, that will all be 100% for free. But the things that require time out of our days and to respond to you and to work with you a little bit on a closer basis, then obviously I hope that you guys can value my time and Caleb's time and all the different mentors as in Weston that we have within our Technical Solutions community and all our counterparts that make us the most effective communities out there. So I want to thank you for everything it is that you do. This is only thanking you like for the 5th time in this video. But truly, you guys aren't watching this video because it's fun. Maybe for some of you it is. I can guarantee you that if you do get involved in the stock market, you are going to start waking up earlier. You are going to be more motivated. You are going to look forward to Mondays if that's not already something that you do. Because when it comes down to the new opportunity that presents itself every single week, how many of you that are tuning in live right now have now love Mondays? How many of you guys? Because I know that a lot of people, normally people that dread their jobs, don't like or look forward to Mondays. But first of all, I love people that have 9-to-5 jobs, right? Especially if you love what it is that you do. But how many of you guys don't look forward to Mondays or didn't and then now do? I want to see right now. So we got Eric. So Monday fun day, me, I do. I hate the weekends now, 100%. And it is because we understand that, new opportunity is presented every single week. It's knowing how to translate that opportunity into profit, right? And you will become much more well-versed with that. So I hope and wish you guys an amazing Sunday. We are going to be blessed, again, with so much opportunity this upcoming week, but it's only those that understand how to take advantage of it that will succeed. So again, one of the best trades that you can take is not one at all. Let's stay very micro-focused. We talked about a bunch of different stocks today. You're going to dedicate 15 to 30 minutes tonight or tomorrow and branch out and talk about 1 or 2 stocks that you're going to plan on investing. Stay micro-focused. Don't trade based on anyone else's opinion. Invest in your own opinion. Make sure that you manage your risk. And if you have any questions, you guys know how to reach out to us, right? You can direct message me within the Learn, Plan, Profit Discord chat. You can direct message me within Technical Solutions, or you can comment down below. And guys, if you guys think that you guys are having a bad week, at least you did not get roasted in your latest Instagram post. I got over 1,000 comments of people calling me Slim Shady, people calling me a wannabe Ellen DeGeneres, people calling me a Justin Bieber lookalike knockoff, right? Justin Bieber just got married. I don't know if you guys heard that, so that's pretty sick. But regardless, I don't mind. If you guys think you're having a bad week, just know that my week is definitely not the best. But again, we're doing this for a good cause. We talked about this last Sunday, but our Technical Solutions organization is going to be working with a series of nonprofits that we're going to be developing and donating to. But not only just that, but we want to get our Technical Solutions team and community to be able to put on some hands-on, work and be able to give back to those that are in need. So I hope that that's something that you guys are excited about. We're not going to ask you guys for any money. I'm going to be, donating money ourselves for Technical Solutions. All we ask is once we start to partner up with these series of different charities, is that we're going to need kind of like, just manpower, right? Or not manpower, but just work, right? Like hands-on work. And for those that want to ever meet up with me or something like that, first of all, I don't meet up in public anymore, just with strangers, but I would love to be able to help the needy, right? Or those that are in need, and then be able to talk to you guys as well. So I think that would be a great mix of, the influence that we have within Technical Solutions. We have a little bit over 235,000 subscribers that we've been blessed with, a little bit over 115,000 members within Technical Solutions. We reach over, 8.8 million watch minutes every 28 days. And I want to make sure that we use that for good. So I hope that you guys are pumped for that. Thank you again for everything it is that we do, or you do. And like always, guys, continue working hard, continue following your dreams. Let your passion be what drives your success. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.